And the camera opens on a shot of the cover with the lovely hearts there. Hi, Dylan and Emily. How you doing? Don't know where you are today when you're listening to this or watching it. Well, as I record it, it is Tuesday the 30th of November 2021. Goodness me, only 31 days left of this year. What a year. Anyway, just arrived today, darlings. Emily and Bill and the Stormy day. Haven't done the editing on it yet, but I'm just going to do a narration of it as it is. And then I'll get the timbre, and then we will go. So, countdown. 5, 1. Cut price countdown. Couldn't afford the full 5. Emily and Bill and the Stormy day. Shall I lift it up like that so you can see the wonderful cover artwork that my children drew? Big rainbow. I think there's 2 unicorns on the front of this one. Greetings, children, young and old, to the tale that's about to born. An adventure starring young Emily Jade and Bill, the magic unicorn. If you don't know of them yet, fear not, for soon you will. For those that do, allow me to recap the day that Emily first met Bill. Young Emily was out walking when she found out to her cost that if you find yourself where you've never been, the chances are you're lost. But as she shed a tear of sorrow and wondered what to do, a soft voice came into her ear. "Oh, my dear, what is troubling you?" Emily turned and blinked her eyes, for before her amazed gaze there stood a little unicorn who smiled. "How are you doing?" Emily mumbled, "Not so good. I went out to play today and went further to than I meant. And if there was a way back home, I don't know where it went." "I know exactly how you feel," Bill ruefully replied. "I've forgotten how to get home myself. Many tears this day I've cried." Now talking divides a problem's power and weakens the hurt it's caused. So they sat down thinking, heads on hands, well, in Bill's case, head on paws. "Can you remember anything, Bill, about from whence you came?" "Oh, it's a wonderful place, Emily. The land of unicorns is its name. I remember my mother's peach-sweet smile as I went out to roam, and I remember her saying," Bill's eyes lit up, "the magic words that would get me home." Dear Emily had prompted his memory, and the special words sprang from Bill's lips, and a flying magic carpet appeared with a flash. "This sure beats walking," he quipped. In a nutshell, what happened next was that Bill flew Emily to his home, and the Queen of Unicorns was so grateful to her, she gave Emily a magic carpet of her own. And now, here today, the 2 friends are out, whooshing up and down in the air, when over the hills came the sound of thunder, with such a bang that Emily was scared. "My goodness, Bill, that was so loud. It sounded like a volcano exploding." "Yes," said Bill, "I think we would be well off to find some cover while it is reloading." They steered their carpets down towards the ground, when suddenly the skies threw out a driving rain. "My word, where is this weather coming from? And can we send it back there again?" Bill flew his carpet above Emily's head to keep the rain from drenching his dear friend. "That's so very kind of you," she shouted up, "but this storm doesn't look like it will end." They saw a shed below them on the edge of a field. "I know that place, it's Mr. Ronson's farm. Let's get ourselves inside it, Bill, as fast as we can. Its strong stone walls will protect us from harm." Down they swooped, buffeted from all sides by a wind so hard it felt like solid steel. They flew inside the shed and landed safe and sound, and peered outside and saw nature's strength revealed. They saw the wind rip a tree from the ground. They saw the farm's fence flying through the air. They saw something then that made Emily shudder. "Bill, there's 2 children out there." Bill gave a glance and saw where she looked, and like a hero he did not hesitate. "Stay here," he calmly said. "I will get them safe." And the magic carpets began to levitate. Bill stood astride the top flying carpet and swiftly flew to where the children were. One was a girl about 8 years old, and an older boy was trying to shelter her. "Hop aboard the bottom rug. I will keep you dry," yelled Bill above the storm's harsh voice. "Why, you're a unicorn!" exclaimed the boy. "What, an armadillo would have been your first choice?" "Jump on board quick, the gale is getting worse. My friend and I have found a place to shelter. Hold on tight now, we will soon be there. I must get you out of this storm's welter." Off they flew in dazed amazement. Bill kept low in case someone should tumble. Just in time the shed came into view as another thunderclap began its rumble. Safe inside the shed they dismounted, and Emily greeted all 3 with a smile. "I was a bit worried, but I knew Bill would get you. He's been getting me out of scrapes for quite a while." "Thank you so much," the boy and girl exclaimed. "I can't say we've ever been this much afraid. One moment we were walking to our picnic spot, the next we're in a floodplain, not a glade." Bill went to the door and shook his fur dry, then went up to the boy and offered his paw. "Hello, I am Bill," he introduced himself, as if everyday unicorn was something these children saw. "Oh, hi Bill, my name is John," said the boy, "and this girl is my sister, Michelle." "This is my bestie, Emily," said Bill. "I hope we'll get to be your friends as well." "Oh yes, we'd like that very much," smiled Michelle, as John gave her his coat to keep her warm. "I must say, we were most surprised to be rescued by you." Bill grinned. Any old unicorn in the storm. They sat down on a carpet in the middle of the shed and used the other as a blanket from the cold. Outside the wind lashed hard and the rain flew like wet blades. The 4 were nervous, if the truth be told. "I don't understand why the weather's gone askew," Bill muttered in a deep in thought way. "When I first came to human land it was predictable, but it's all gone pear-shaped lately, I must say." "Well, I am 12 and I have seen it change in just that time," said John with his arm around his sister. "It's gone from breeze to wind to gales like this. Pretty soon each month we'll have a typhoon or a twister." "I wonder what is causing it," pondered Bill, as he gazed out of the window at the storm. "I can tell you that," replied Michelle. "I'm afraid it's because the world is getting warm." "Oh, why is that?" Bill asked innocently. You see, unicorns are not ones for current affairs. "It's not good because this is the only world there is, and it didn't come with any spares." The 3 children looked at him ruefully, and Emily spoke in a voice with a sombre tone. "You see, Bill, grown-ups have been doing things for years that have damaged this beautiful world we all call home." "Whatever do you mean?" Bill asked curiously. "I would have thought that a planet's hard to harm." Even in a serious moment the children all laughed. "Oh, Bill, your naivety is so much of your charm." "It's like this, Bill," said John, taking up the tale. "In truth, the earth is quite a fragile place. In school they teach us about its delicate balance that previous generations have treated with disgrace." "Oh yes," chirped in Michelle. "Though I am only 8, I know how much pollution is in the air. And the seas as well," Emily added on. "And what's worse, we're not even sure grown-ups care." "But what about your parents?" Bill raised one eye. "Surely they want to keep you safe and sound. That's not something that will be easy to do if nothing grows because they've poisoned out the ground." "As far as we can see," said Emily, "they all think that one person can't make a change." Well, obviously 1,000,000,000 one persons can, Bill huffed. That's a line of thought they need to rearrange. I recycle all I can, proudly said Michelle. And we ask our dad to car share, added John. And so do all our friends, said the children as one, to do something now before the tipping point has gone. Just then from outside came an awful crash. The paddock fence had all been blown away. And 3 frightened lambs were running towards the river, which had burst its banks from all the rain that fell this day. Emily and Bill cast each other a glance. Without a word, they both knew what to do. Up on Bill's magic carpet they both jumped. "Stay here," they yelled out, and out the shed they flew. They used Emily's carpet as a canopy to protect themselves from the storm's caress. As they flew to save the lambs, they could see up ahead, bleating for their mother in distress. "The wind is slowing us down so," cried Emily. "I don't know if we'll get there in time, sweet Bill." He clenched his teeth and took the battle to the storm, saying with determination, "Yes, we will." The poor lambs were frightened and confused. The wind, the rain, the thunder fueled their fear. They were running blindly in the dark of the storm, and the flooded river's edge drew ever near. And then they were flying up into the air. Bill had scooped them up in one fell swoop. Emily stroked them gently to ease their fears and said, "Bill, don't you dare do a loop-the-loop." Back they all flew to the shelter of the shed, and Bill set the carpet down soft as could be. "Hooray for Bill and Emily," the children all cried, and I think the lambs all bleated out, "Yippee." The 3 children sat the tempest out, with the peace of mind that comes from feeling secure, laughing as Bill did magic tricks, like flying upside down and falling on the floor. "I meant to do that," he huffed as he stood up, and I think this time even the lambs laughed. Emily giggled, "Bill, I don't know what you've landed in. Well, I reckon you really need a good long bath." How the children roared as Bill heard those words. "Emily's only teasing," Michelle soothed. "But come around to ours on my next slumber party. We'll plait your fur and paint your lovely hooves." "How much longer will this storm last?" John wondered aloud. Bill replied, "I think it's past its peak." "If you're tired, count the lambs," Michelle smiled at her brother. "Pretty soon you'll fall asleep." And finally the storm, it did abate, and once more sunlight bathed the battered earth. The children gazed out upon the beauty, and each thought, "Do grown-ups know how much all of this is worth?" Then came a sound that shook their reverie, a bleat of joy that could only mean one thing. And 3 lambs ran into their mother's embrace, and such happiness you will have seldom seen. "See you soon," the children cried out after them, and promised it would not be long till they'd return. Bill stroked his chin as he watched them all depart and said, "You know, I think I'd look good with a perm." The children chuckled fit to burst their sides, then gathered for a group hug of goodbye. "Will we see you and Bill again?" Michelle asked them. "Of course you will," said Emily, "and here's why. A stranger is a friend that you have not yet met, and a friend is your extended family. And so from today, I am very proud to say, I'll always be there for you, and you for me." All 3 children cheered and smiled with glee, while Bill, he danced a jig of delight. But from the corners of their eyes, all 4 could see something in the world was just not right. The rain had stopped, but the flood still ran. The winds had died, but left such devastation. The clouds had cleared, but the birds still flew in fear. What could be done to change this situation? "My magic is so puny against nature's might," Bill said with such sorrow in his voice. It's in your parents' hands. Somehow they must learn to understand that doing nothing is no longer a choice. The children nodded in agreement of his words, because all children are much wiser than their years. Tomorrow is their right, and who should learn that tonight? Yes, you are correct. It is their peers. Emily gave a wave as Michelle and John went on their way, then flew home safe with Bill tight at her side. Another exciting day, together they did say, and 2 new friends, they both smiled with pride. See you soon, sweet Bill, waved Emily. He grinned, miss you until then, as he flew away. And 3 children slept that night without turning on their light, because of what they'd seen during the day. The next evening. Have you done your homework? Asked a voice in Emily's house. But oh, it was not Mum or Dad who had inquired. It was Emily who asked, looking in the recycling bins. And that's the way that grown-ups get inspired. P.S. We haven't quite finished this book yet. And that is the end of another Bill and Emily adventure. But this time it is not the end of the story. The world is a-changing, if we like it or not. We must all decide if it is to tragedy or glory. Parents, if you read to your children this tale, please forgive me if I postulate. Their future is in your hands more than ever these days, and they do not have the time for you to prevaricate. Thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this tale of Emily and Bill the Magic Unicorn. Written by me, Paul Murphy. As ever in my books, there's a little postscript poem, or a little final poem, just for Emily and Dylan. And it is this: Emily and Dylan. You fill my day with joy, you fill my life with pride. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit choked up. You are the answer whenever I ask why. You fill my soul with hope, you fill my heart with love. Never was a father as blessed as I. Thank you for your time. And your ears, for lending me your ears to listen to Emily and Bill and the Stormy Day. Inspired by Kate Murphy. And I think that's about it. I hope I got through it okay. Right, here's a picture of the book while I stand up to turn the camera off because I forgot the remote control unit. So gaze at this, not at me. Goes that way there, unicorns. Where's the unicorns too? Bye bye.